No winner. Anyway, you look at this movie, it started trends. Tough man competitions started building across Canada states because of the Clint Eastwood's character in the show. Eddie Rabbit got a big boost to his career because of the theme song, and of course, orangutans became more popular than ever before. So only one problem: there was allegations of cruelty to the animals that he used in the movie. But every which way but loose, whatever way to look at it, established Clint Eastwood as a comedy star. Now this came out in 1978, did really good money at the box office. I think it was one of the most popular movies ever that Eastwood did. It got 20 times the production cost. It was 5 million to make. It made almost 105 million. Now released by Warner Brothers again, starring Clint Eastwood in an uncharacteristic and offbeat comedy role. Produced by Robert Daly and directed by James Fargo, Eastwood plays Philo Bedeau, a trucker and bare-knuckled brawler roaming the American West in search of a lost love, while accompanied by his brother manager Orville and his pet orangutan Clyde. Philo encounters a wide assortment of characters, including a pair of strange police officers and a motorcycle gang who pursue him for revenge. Now, Eastwood's appearance in the film, after his string of spaghetti western and Dirty Harry roles, somewhat startled the film industry, and he was reportedly advised against taking the role, but this was sort of like in that Burt Reynolds style of action comedy. Very poorly reviewed by critics, the film proved so successful it was re-released a couple of times at the end of the decade, and became, along with his 80 sequel Any Which Way You Can, two of the highest grossing Eastwood films. When adjusted for inflation, it ranks as one of the top 250 highest grossing films of all time. Simple plot, but the great results. Now, Philo is a truck driver living in the San Fernando Valley. He lives in a small house with an orangutan named Clyde, behind that of his brother Orville and his mother. Philo makes money on the side as a bare knuckle fighter. He's often compared to a legendary fighter named Tank Murdoch. Of course, the orangutan, the big subplot was trying to get the animal laid, but we'll get that in a second. Now, one night, Philo becomes smitten with Lynn Halsey Taylor, an aspiring country music singer he meets at a Palomino club, which is a local honky tonk. His relationship with her seems to be going well until one day she and her camper disappear from the trailer park. Believing that he's falling for her, Philo decides to set off for Lynn's home in Denver. Along the way, he has a run-in with a very strange motorcycle gang called the Black Widows, who incur Philo's wrath after two gang members insult him and Clyde at a traffic light. Philo chases them down and takes their bikes, which he repaints, repairs, and resells, and every attempt he makes to get even results in disaster. Now, Philo also incurs the wrath of an LAPD cop named Putnam, with whom he gets in a fight at the Palomino. Both the officer and the widows learn of Philo's trip to Colorado and head off to find him. Now, this was, of course, a Malpozo Company production and a Christmas release in '78. So one of the big holiday movies of that year. Now, when Orville and Clyde accompany Philo to Denver, on the way they meet a woman named Echo, who becomes Orville's girlfriend. They earn money along the way by booking fights for Philo. After a fight in the slaughterhouse, the man holding the money tries to stiff him. Echo fires two shots from her .38, dead center in the side of beef. She lets the crowd know she knows how to shoot, saying, "The second shot was to let you know the first was no accident." The man hands over the money. Knowing that Philo has come to look for her, Lynn helps the Black Widows, luring him into a trap. Philo sees Lynn and attempts to talk to her, but finds himself surrounded by the Black Widows. He manages to fight most of them until Orville intervenes. Using a garbage truck with a dumpster hoist, he dumps all the motorcycles in the back of the truck. The widows charge the garbage truck, but Orville gets away. Philo, Echo, and Orville then escape. Now, Philo finally finds Lynn, and she reveals her shallow nature to him. Hurt by her callousness, Philo says that he's the only one dumb enough to want to take her further than her bed. Philo watches as Lynn erupts in a fit of rage, striking him repeatedly until she collapses in tears. Now, Orville learns that Tank Murdoch, based in the area, is ready to retire after one more fight. Orville makes the arrangements, and Philo faces his aging nemesis. During the fight, the crowd, initially pro-Murdoch, begins to insult him, with some murmurs that Philo is going to be the next Murdoch. Philo lets his guard down, intentionally giving Murdoch a clear shot, knocking Philo down for the count. Murdoch, having regained the crowd's esteem, is allowed to retire undefeated, although he knows Philo let him win. Clyde, Orville, and Echo head home the next day. A very, very strong supporting cast, by the way, with Sandra Locke, who was Eastwood's paramour at the time, as Lynn, Jeffrey Lewis as Orville, the luminous Beverly D'Angelo as Echo, with Ruth Gordon as Ma. And the, the, the biker gang is strange as can be believed. Now, screenwriter Jeremy Rosenberg has a small role as Bruno the Biker, while martial artist Gene LaBelle also features as another biker. Orangutan Manis co-stars in The Ape Clyde, making uncredited appearance are Harry Guardino as James Beckman, who also appeared in Eastwood movies in the past, Mel Tillis as an MC performer at Palomino, and Phil Everly of the Everly Brothers as a singer at the club. Now, the script written by Jeremy Joe Kronsberg had been rejected by many other Hollywood production companies. However, Eastwood saw the project as a means of broadening his appeal to the public, although most of his production team and his agents reportedly thought it was ill-advised. Eastwood's associate Bob Hoyt convinced Warner Brothers to buy the story. Now, the Clyde character was played by the orangutan named Manis. Eastwood, instead of using the orangutan for the main role, Clyde was one of the most natural actors I ever worked with, but you had to get him on the first take because his boredom level was very limited. And of course, the famous, hands up and shooting scene. Now, the film has a contemporary Western theme displayed by the blue-collar aspects of the Western United States, with many scenes shot in rural locations, cheap motel rooms, industrial facilities, and honky-tonk bars. And Jeffrey Lewis once said, we didn't have to create the scenery, it was just there. Location filming took place in the California communities of Bakersfield, North Hollywood, San Fernando, Sun Valley, Ukiah, and Van Nuys. It was also filmed in Colorado, including parts of Denver, Aurora, and historic Georgetown. A few scenes were also filmed at Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and Teos, New Mexico. Now, the film title refers to Eddie Rabbitt's song of the same name for the soundtrack, but the phrase has also appeared in previous years, Smokey and the Bandit. Now, upon its release, the film was a surprising success and became Eastwood's most commercially successful movie at the time. The film opened in 1,275 theaters and grossed nearly $10.3 million the first week, beating Eastwood's previous best opener, The Enforcer of the Dirty Harry series. Now, it grossed a total of about $105 million in the States and Canada, ranking high among those of Eastwood's career, and the second highest grossing film of 78. Now, critical reviews were terrible. Janet Mason, New York Times, called the film the slackest and most harebrained of Mr. Eastwood's recent movies. Variety commented, this film is so awful, it's almost as if Eastwood is using it to find out how far he can go, how bad a film he can associate with some wit. Gene Siskel gave it a middle review, 2.5 out of 4, and wrote that the comedy breaks new ground for Eastwood. But the film has been sloppily made, its villains are pathetic cartoon characters, its seemingly sweet leading lady turns out to be a psychotic. These errors cripple what could have been an extremely entertaining story, but like I said, it's a comic book movie. Now, Gary Arnold of Washington Post said, "Every which way but loose has a change of pace designed to align his career in a direction similar to that of Burt Reynolds. Casual knockabout farce seems to be the general idea, but perhaps Eastwood should have borrowed the director and writers who helped shape Smokey and the Bandit and Hooper for Reynolds, and that's the biggest parallel, but that was the style at the time. Now, in 2023, it held a rating of 41% on Rotten Tomatoes based on 27 reviews with an average rating of 5.0. To me, it's 3.5 stars out of 4 because there's a lot, interesting stuff going on. And Clint Eastwood, he's in great shape. He's appealing. He's funny, and it's a sense of humor. It is what it is. But of course, Sandra Locke is there, and you know what that means. Now, the soundtrack album had many successful country music hits, and 2 hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country Singles Chart, including the title track "Every Which Way But Loose" by Eddie Rabbitt and Coca-Cola Cowboy Mel Tillis. Also included was "Behind Closed Doors" by Charlie Rich, which had reached the number 1 spot in the Hot Country Singles Chart in 1973. Other songs featured in the film that reached the top 5 of the country chart, including Rich's "I'll Wake You Up When I Get Home" at number 3, and Tillis's "Send Me Down to Tucson." Now, producer Snuff Garrett was hired to produce songs for the film, including 3 for Sandra Locke's character, although it was proved problematic as Locke was not a professional singer. Problematic as well, she's not a very good actress. Locke, who appears as Eastwood's love interest performed several musical numbers in the film as well, which waste a lot of the screen time. Now, in addition to Behind Closed Doors, a 1960 song by Hank Thompson, Six Pack to Go, was featured in the film, including on the soundtrack. And again, now this goes under some references a list of boxing films. But the reason why it's almost 2 hours, which is long for a comedy, is because of Sandra Locke singing so much. But what Eastwood was trying to do was please everybody, please the studio, please these normal co-workers, please his director. But I think Clint Eastwood directed this movie because some scenes showed him in such a good light. It has to be Eastwood that was giving the permission to be shown. So again, if you, it's very rarely on TV, and it has been edited for content. But Ruth Gordon's character, Grandma with the shotgun, I would like to see how many. See, it had a lot of tropes that were popular. The best friend of the big character and the Ruth Gordon character. But Sandra Locke, anyway, she's a beautiful lady. But like I said, the lights are on, but nobody's home. I don't like her acting style, even though she's been appeared in a lot of parts, Academy Award nominee. But like I said, I don't want to go in the background with Eastwood and Locke because there's no end to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like our Clint Eastwood podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share, and tell me what was your favorite scene for the movie. And again, the scenes with him and the orangutan are classic. And I'm sorry that maybe some of the animals were abused on set, but that was the nature of the beast at the time. 46 years ago, people weren't as aware as they are now. Have a good one. Bye.